Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you all doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so we're gonna have a very fun conversation today. We're talking about money. I don't know if you love money, but I love money. So we're gonna talk about how to get money for school, how to find scholarship for school. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just say hey. If you can hear me, say hey, say hey. All right, so I think my guest is here. We don't want this to drag, so we're just gonna go ahead and hop on. But we're talking about scholarships to everyone. So my guest will be joining me very shortly. My name is Janet. Those of you who may not know me. Hi,
Hello.
Jocelyn. Hi, hi, hi. Thank you all for tuning in. We already have 13 people. That's good. So I think people are really happy about this topic. People want to hear a lot about scholarships. Personally, so I followed you and I do college planning, so I read around and that's how I found out about the scholarship system because I'm always looking for opportunities for my students and I find your content very valuable. I consider myself as the academic expert when it comes to college planning. I focus more on your readiness for school academically, making sure you're getting into the right program, making sure you understand, how school works and all that. But part of college is money. And I realized we can have all the plan, but if we can't afford to go, that's another problem, right? So it's good to have vision, it's good to have purpose, it's good to know why you're going, understand how things work. But most importantly, I don't want you to go and come back and have student loan debt. So then I'm like, I need to find ways to help my students get money for school and strategies so that they can go to school for free. And I know I'm first generation, I'm immigrant, and I know a lot of people in my community, sometimes we're just not aware of what's out there. So that's the whole point of this conversation. So share the link with a friend and you're going to get value because I follow Jocelyn and I know that she knows what she's talking about. And so I don't want to waste too
Thank
much
you so
time.
much
So
for
Jocelyn,
having me. I'm
welcome.
so excited to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. Let me put my volume up so I can hear you all the way. Okay, so now just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick because I don't think my
Yeah, and
followers
actually,
know
we
who
are
you
super
are.
new to Instagram. I was like, you know what? We'll get there when we get there. So if they are only on Instagram, then they definitely have not heard of us. But that said, my name is Jocelyn Pearson. I founded the scholarship system. Oh my gosh, almost a decade ago. It's crazy how time flies. But it came from my own experience where I wanted to go to college, but my parents sat me down and said, we love you. We would love to pay for it, but there's just no way. And so college was on me. And that's when I started my hunt for scholarships. But it was not an easy road by any means. I got sucked into scams. I submitted dozens of applications without hearing anything. And I was ready to quit. And I started tweaking my strategy and testing different things. And finally, I won $500. And a lot of people hear that and they're like, $500? That's not even textbooks these days. But that $500 was so critical because it showed me, oh, they're real. Okay, so I just have to figure out what was different from this one versus that one. And so I tweaked it and I got more and more money every year to where I got over $126,000 in scholarships, graduated debt free. In fact, actually, I got paid to go to school. I literally got a check every semester. And so the scholarship system has been breaking down what I did, and now at this point, what thousands of families have done with our process into 6 steps. Because a lot of students, they're like, okay, scholarships, let me just Google scholarships. And they get so overwhelmed with all the stuff out there. And so they just quit. And so we break it down into these bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, so I consider Jocelyn like the special when you go to see a physician, right? You have your family doctor, you have your primary doctor, and then when you have like special needs or special topics, you go to the special person for that. I definitely consider you as an authority on this subject more so than I am, because I did not apply to any scholarships when I was going to undergrad. All I knew was do FAFSA. And so I did that, and I did get scholarships through my university,
Right.
but it wasn't full ride. So I didn't look for any external scholarships. Okay,
Yep.
so today let's break it down. People think scholarships is automatic, and you're just supposed to get it because you're
I
that
thought
good.
that too. And then I got $2,000, I think it was. It was really sad.
Exactly. So first is scholarship. Can you break it down? Because that's a term that I feel a lot
And
of
that's
people
so
don't.
true because a lot of people do think with scholarships, it's just whatever money you get from the university when you apply. Now, first, I want to let everyone know that there are scholarships that come through the university when you apply, but actually there are also scholarships through universities that you have to apply for. So when I applied for admissions, I also had to submit a separate application for scholarships. So that's something just in itself that a lot of families miss out on because they assume they'll automatically be considered when they apply. Not always the case. And so that's
Okay.
scholarships within the university. Then there's financial aid, where we're talking about FAFSA. You submit that government form, and that can get you some money through the government, through the state, through the university as well. But then there are private scholarships, or you use the word external scholarships or third party scholarships. And these can be from, oh my gosh, so many different avenues: banks, lawyers' offices, credit unions. I've seen grocery stores, construction companies, PTAs, organizations, PTSAs, Elks Club, Rotary Club. I could go on and on. Even the scholarship system, we give out thousands of dollars every year in scholarships. So anyone that wants to give back. So we really focus on that outside piece, but we also touch on you want to get the most from the university, get that bill down as little as you can. But then what do we do to cover the rest? That's where we really hit the pavement on those outside scholarships.
Okay, so let's break it down a little bit more. So let's say I'm a high schooler and I will be going to college. I'm a junior or I'm a senior and I will be going to college. So most of the time, my students, they are focusing on doing the Common App application, applying to schools. Then they do FAFSA because everybody's like, do FAFSA, do FAFSA. And then that's it.
Mm.
So at what time should a student considering or looking up scholarships?
I know
What's
no
the
one wants to
timeline
hear
for that?
this, but if I could, I would make everyone start this process in junior year. So, junior year in high school. Now, if we have seniors on here, even if we have college students on here, it's not too late. You can apply for scholarships all the way through all 4 years of college. In fact, my last check that I got was on my way home from college graduation. I cashed it. So we can continue applying. But the thing is, if we start junior year, we can actually already start winning money. A lot of people think, well, where does the money go then? Sometimes it'll be a bond that matures in a year, or sometimes they say you won, but contact us next year when you choose the school and we'll send the money. So for sure, junior year, we can actually start winning money. Also, if we start junior year, that will make senior year so much easier because it's already, like you said, you've got the Common App, you have applications, admissions, you have FAFSA, you have prom, you have everything, right? And see, so we think junior year is a crazy year, but it just gets crazier. So in reality, we should be doing this junior year if we can.
I agree. So I started college planning in 2022, and I realized in senior year when I'm telling seniors how to do stuff, they're so overwhelmed because they have the Common App, they're doing that, they're doing FAFSA, they're still doing schoolwork. And I noticed that there wasn't enough time to search and apply for scholarship. So then it occurred to me I need to start with juniors because that time you're not really applying for the Common App. So you have a little bit more flexibility to gather your scholarship list and start applying
Yeah.
because that would be off your plate at least, or you would have a list or something, and then in your senior year, you're less overwhelmed. So scholarship is overwhelming. Would you agree? To
Oh,
find it
well,
is
and
work.
that's the thing with the scholarship system. We always say that it's not this easy button where it's just all of a sudden poof, we have this money, right? We have to do the work. The idea though is that at least we have just bite-sized steps that we can follow rather than feeling that overwhelmed, because it is overwhelming. It's a daunting task, especially when students don't know where to look for them or they get sucked into scams like I did and they just want to quit. And so I find this all the time where parents, they'll be like, oh, my student just won't apply. And when we really start digging into it, it's usually actually they're just overwhelmed. We just need to find what's the first step.
Right. And so what would you say from your experience when you apply and not hearing back? Because I get that a lot. I'm applying, I'm not hearing back, nobody's responding,
Yeah.
and then they get discouraged. Can you share your experience to get your first private scholarship? So we're focusing on private scholarships for this conversation because there's different kinds of scholarship. Maybe we'll touch a little bit about the university ones, but I feel you don't have that much control over those sometimes because it's based on your FAFSA, it's based on your needs and other things. But the external one where you go out
Right.
there and find it. So how do you get your very first $500 check and
Yeah, well,
how'd
and
you go
no one
about
likes
that?
to hear this, but a lot of times when I hear students, I'm applying to dozens and dozens and not hearing back, I'll ask them, well, can I see some links? And a lot of times they're applying to not the right scholarships. So, like, I don't want to use the word scam, but they're borderline scams where if it says enter to win, weekly drawing, or no essay, or easy $5,000 scholarship, if it sounds easy, it is too good to be true. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. So we have something that we call the scholarship spectrum. On one end of the spectrum, you have least effort imaginable, right? You can just knock it out while watching Grey's Anatomy, which that show has been around so long that even I did them while watching that show. And then on the other hand, on the other side, we have maximum effort, transcripts, recommendation letters, essays, multiple essays, maybe even an interview, all of these different criteria. So that's the spectrum from really easy to more work. And as we go to the other side of the spectrum, the more work it requires, the higher the chance of it being legitimate. And the reason you said something really interesting that I want to point out, how you said, the university ones we don't have that much control over. A lot of people think that with private scholarships too. They think it's just luck. And the thing is, if we're doing those easy ones, that's true. It is literally the only thing you can do to make the odds go in your favor is by putting your name in the ring, in the hat more often. So there's nothing within our control truly that can increase our odds. But if it's on the other end of the spectrum, where it's based on competitiveness, it's based on your essay, your story, all of these criteria, those things we can work on. That is why our students pretty much have double the success rate of a normal student, because we can work on those materials, fine tune them, and make the odds go in our favor. So a lot of times when we're not hearing back, and I know students hate hearing this, but a lot of times, a lot of those were not the right scholarships. So first and foremost, we have to make sure we're actually applying to legitimate scholarships.
Exactly. So I always have this analogy, like if I have $20,000 to help a kid go to school, I'm not just gonna throw it out there and say, here's $20,000, take it and go to school
Yeah,
without any
exactly.
effort. So if it requires zero effort, you should be suspicious because this is money we're talking about. No matter how talented you are, beautiful, handsome, nobody's gonna just dash you $20K to just fill in your name. So that's number one. When you're looking for scholarships, you want to make sure the site or the source is credible. So let's talk about that. Where do you even start? Because most people just start on Google
Right.
and just Google scholarship. I've heard you talk about this, and if you just Google scholarship, of
Yes.
course, that's
So,
too
and
broad.
then you get a ton of junk, or you're getting the same scholarships that everyone else is seeing when they Google scholarships. So you're competing against everyone, right? So yes, we do, however, use Google, but in a very different way. So instead, we get very, very specific. So for example, our students, whatever they are majoring in, say, for example, they are majoring in engineering, then we are going to Google engineering association scholarships or marketing association scholarships or whatever the field or career path is. And what we're doing here is we're getting way more fine-tuned. And the word association is actually kind of the golden nugget here, because what we're doing is we're not just looking for scholarships.com list of engineering scholarships. We're actually looking for organizations that are giving money. So when we're doing that, we are finding the actual sources rather than just going to these generic lists. Now, do we want to look at the list? Of course, why not? But still, that's not, we should be searching for the websites that pop up that are not fastweb.com, scholarships.com, etc. And the thing is, I don't know if you know this, but FastWeb and a lot of these search engines that a lot of counselors point their students to, you have to pay to get your scholarship on there, and it's a sizable amount. It's I want to say last time, and this was many years ago, it was like $600 just to get your scholarship on FastWeb, and we were giving out $600 scholarships. So I said to them, I was like, I'd rather just give that to the students. So no, thank you. But I'm sure I'm not the only one. So that means that there are a lot of scholarships out there not on those big search engines, and so that's what we want to search for.
So what I'm hearing you is, if you go to Google and you search a little bit more specific based on your subject area, you would have a better chance of getting good leads versus if you just blindly put scholarship in the search. That's too vague, that's too broad. The chances of getting something that's really credible might be little. But if you add like the word association, then maybe there's an engineering association that is giving out money, and you can tap into that. Right?
And I mean, we have a link in the bio to a free webinar where I show like actual specific examples of these searches. But it's simple but not easy. A lot of people overlook the strength of this. But it really does make a difference when we're looking for those sources of the scholarships rather than just where everyone else is looking.
Right. So I've heard you speak about this, and I hope you would comment a little bit about, local scholarships. So we're in America with 50 states. It's huge. And if you're looking for scholarship, even with associations, it's all over America, right? Now you're in Ohio, for instance. Could you narrow your search to the state of Ohio? And would you get better success if you just focus on your state?
But we treat that as a separate search. So we have the one for our major, then we will have one for local organizations. So the way that we love to word this is the city or county plus the word foundation plus the word scholarship. And this is, again, an amazing golden nugget, because what this does is it finds those local organizations that oftentimes have hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to give out. And a lot of times they actually require only one application, and then you just check the ones that you're eligible for, and you're entered into all of those. So, and the nice thing about this is especially important for high school students. A lot of times they do want high school students, not college students. However, if your student wins the money as a high school student, a lot of times they're able to reapply as a college student. So it opens up the doors for the next 4 years because they are an alumni, if you will. And so that is how we can start finding some of those local organizations that are giving out money.
Right.
Oh, I
right,
love
right. This is good. Somebody's summarizing it in the
that's perfect. Thank
you for that. Very, very good, because you want to make sure that you're searching correctly, because it is work. Nobody is going to tell you that just do bare minimum and get free money.
Everyone would have a free ride, right?
So it is. Yes. So it's work, and I encourage my students. I'm like, it's not, sometimes you hear about some of them easy from school or from your community or somehow, but then, it's a little $500 here, $1,000 here. So people get discouraged with the amount, the dollar amount. A lot of people are interested in big dollar amount. Again, I've heard you talk about the dollar amounts, like the Coca-Cola, the Bill Gates, everybody wants those because it's huge, it's 50K, and everybody wants that. But then you're like, how about the $1,000 here and the $2,000 here? Could you explain dollar amounts when you're searching and how you should
Absolutely.
consider
It's such a
those?
great point that you're making. So, when we're talking about the good scholarships, a lot of students assume that means Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, KFC, these big ones where we can win $100,000. The thing is, everyone's applying to those. And if a student's watching this or if a parent, if they're creme de la creme, then go for it, fine. But for us mere mortals, for myself, there was no way I was going to win the Coca-Cola. Okay, let's just be honest with ourselves. I was not going to get it. And so I went after those small ones, but I got to the free ride still. It was 1,000 here, 2,000 there. I think one of my biggest one was only $4,000 per year, and they still added up to that free ride. So it was a cumulative approach. But I like to say this is the average student's way to a free ride, because a lot of us are not going to get that six-figure offer or that big six-figure win in one shot. It's just, yeah, if we have the materials and we can knock out an application, why not? But don't skip those little ones. One quick story with this. I love this. We have an interview with one of our students. And I have to say, just he's an average white male, which right there, a lot of people say, oh, he's not going to be eligible for any scholarships, and he ended up with over $76,000 before he even started college, and he's gotten more and more as he's been there. But back then I asked him, I said, have you been able to reuse any essays? And he started laughing. He's like, you know what? I won a $500 scholarship. Took me 30 minutes because I was able to reuse other material, and no one applied because it was only $500. So he made, technically that was $1,000 an hour rate, right? At 30 minutes of effort, $500, because other people saw that and they're like, that's not worth my time. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. The thing is, what we're trying to say is, you're gonna get the six-figure amount like Jocelyn did, not at one time. She got it in increments, and over the 4 years, she ended up getting six-figure in scholarships. So $5,000 here, $1,000 here, $3,000 here. Don't overlook those and think that that's nothing. I'm gonna go chase the Coca-Cola 50,000 ones. Everybody wants those. So if you want to better your chances, look within your state, look in your area specific. Are there other, because I know that, for instance, there's scholarship for minorities, there's scholarship for first generation. So when you're searching for those, would you recommend searching first generation scholarships, or you say something like that would be a good search
You
word
definitely
for
can.
as a
And a
lead?
lot of people think that the minority aspect is huge when it comes to scholarships. There are some things there, but whether a student is a minority or not, there is still money out there. So I do want to just touch on that. But that said, certainly do those searches. For example, I'm Italian, and actually my grandparents are immigrants. So we're pretty close in years to migrating to the US versus, a long time here. So I was looking up Italian heritage once because we're close enough to that heritage. So absolutely do that. We actually have in the scholarship system a table that has 36 boxes of ideas, and then we use that Google search framework and we plug in all the different ideas. So that's where, you want to do all of these ideas, everything that we can think of, any kind of unique characteristic, whether it's minority, not, a passion, an interest, a career path, a twin, whatever it is that we can think of, our parents' employers, my own employer, all of these different areas and topics that we think might lead to money, check it out. And, going off that, another big tip, it doesn't hurt to ask either. Have your parents ask, and if their employer, and say, hey, have you guys ever offered a scholarship? Is it something that you're interested in? You would be amazed. We've had some students where they actually were like, oh, that's a great idea, and they created a scholarship. So, but there are scholarships funded by so many different organizations for so many different reasons. That's where that Google method, when we get specific, can be really, really powerful.
Right, right. Right, right. So I saw a question in the comment box about like professional school. So most of these things we're talking to do them early. We try to focus a lot on like high school because I personally believe that's the time to leverage a lot of things. Like if you're a good student, athlete, if you're involved, you write a very strong essay. You're already applying to college, you're going to write an essay. You can write an essay for scholarships. That's the time to really capitalize and hone in on the scholarship search. But let's say a student missed it and before college they didn't search and now they're in college. Do you think the same search method would work for undergrads, or once you're an undergrad, what's the best way to
So same
search
thing
for
applies here.
scholarship?
It's the same. The only difference when it comes to undergraduate is that there are things called cash awards where they are like a scholarship, but they're actually given out for that semester or that school year versus the following year, which of course are everyone's favorites. And they're given as a cash check often. So those oftentimes are not for high school students. They already have to be in college showing, hey, I can do this. Now, going to professional schools, beyond undergraduate, that is like you said, it's just not our area of expertise. However, we have brought in someone who was able to get a free ride for a graduate degree. And the one big thing that we learned is that oftentimes you just have to switch out the word scholarship for the word. You can do foundation, you can do oh my gosh, now I'm drawing a blank, but fellowship. That's the word. Instead of scholarship, it's fellowship. So for graduate degrees or professional school. So maybe try that along with the career path, along with the association, try fellowship. And that may lead to some money for those upper grades, or sorry, those beyond undergrad.
So like for instance, if you're going to professional school like pharmacy, you can search pharmacy fellowships, pharmacy foundation fellowships, or something like that if you're professional. There's a question about when should you start if you're
Now,
class of 2024. If class of 2024, meaning you're a junior right now, or you know somebody who's a junior. We said earlier, junior year is actually one of the
yes.
best time to search scholarships. And people worry because they're like, I'm not going to college next year. I'm going to college in 2024. Like Jocelyn said, they will wait for you if you win the award. They'll just say,
Yep.
report to me when you're starting, and then get the award. People shy away from applying because they're like, I'm not going to college next year until 2024. But no, that's a good time to apply. You can even apply in 10th grade, right? Or ninth grade. If some scholarships are, once you get the offer, it'll wait for when you're ready to go to college. It's just like when you're trying to get a job and you're in school, sometimes you get a job offer and they'll say, we'll wait for you to graduate. I've heard that. And I encourage people to apply to things before they graduate, because if somebody really wants to give something to you, they will wait for you. You got it, and they would wait for you when it's time to apply it. So yes, if you're 2024, please go ahead and apply now. Please go ahead and search now.
Uh,
Do you have
uh,
anything to add to that? If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat.
Ooh,
But go
so does
ahead,
that mean you apply
Jocelyn.
for senior scholarship? So a lot of times they'll say high school students, and that's where, or they'll say junior and senior students. So that's a great question. So as long as we meet the criteria, it's okay to apply. A lot of them will say juniors and seniors may apply, or high school students may apply. And that's where even say as a sophomore, we could be applying in high school. So your students, if it's parents, and maybe that would be helpful. Let me know if your parents or if you guys are the students yourselves. That would be helpful. But that it definitely by junior year. If I could, I'd have everyone starting junior year.
Yes, I agree. The question is, does that mean you apply for, oh, you already answered that one. So I think
Yeah.
I saw another, did I see another question? For someone going to community college, what are the scholarship
So same
opportunities
same
out there?
tips all apply. So same search methods, everything for community college. The only difference is that you probably have a way less of a gap to close, which is amazing. I love the idea of going to community colleges. In fact, if it especially undergraduate. I always say it's better to graduate debt-free than to worry about a name on the diploma. But that said, there are things called bridge programs where you can do your first 2 years out of community college, transfer to the 4-year school. It's a prearranged agreement, so we know all the credits transfer. And then that degree actually says the same name as everyone else. You just paid half the price. So that's an opportunity. But that said, community college is typically way more affordable. But these scholarships, they often just require it to be an accredited university. As long as it's accredited, community or not, it's eligible.
Exactly. And so we're talking about other ways to go to school debt free. Scholarships is usually one of our ways. So typically what happens is when you apply for FAFSA, depending on your need and merits, you're going to get, the schools are going to give you money based on your W-2 and everything that you submit. They're going to give you money. So let's say your school costs $30,000 and you're going to get some offer. FAFSA can give you, I think the maximum Pell Grant you can get is about 6,000 something. So if your school costs 6,000 and let's say you're low income, you get all of that Pell Grant. That's still less than half of your money, right? But then universities have these institutional scholarships that they give to people who have certain GPAs, certain backgrounds. They give you those in addition, because I've seen a lot of offer letters, and you'll just have all these grants. So everything that's grants tends to be free, right? So once, let's say you get 20,000 in grant money, you still have 10,000 to pay for it. And some automatically for me, I had grants and scholarships from the institution just through my FAFSA, but I still had about 5,000 to pay. And at the time, the only thing I knew was the subsidized loan. So fortunately for me, I didn't take any private loans. I took only subsidized loans, but it was still loaned. And I didn't think about it. I saw the loan, but I was like, it's from the federal government. So it must be good money, but it was still a loan. So what I should have done with that 5,000 was either to pay for it myself or to look for external money to pay for it instead of taking the loan. So there's always this gap. You get some money, but you don't get all of it. Some students end up getting a full ride from the school, which is great, but that's not a lot of students. So a lot of us will have this balance, and that's what we're talking about. The difference. How do you pay for that 10,000 difference? If you had external scholarships waiting for you, that's going to potentially pay for that 10,000. Or if you go to community college, which is cheaper, then you probably won't have a difference because you're going to get the scholarships or the FAFSA to cover your community college. What other ways do you think that we can go to school for free apart from
Oh
applying
gosh.
to
So
scholarships?
we have the scholarship system where we primarily focus on scholarships. That's our bread and butter. But we also have our sister program called Debt Free Degree Lab. And that is the whole reason we created it, because we realized, hey, in addition to doing scholarships, families need to be working on all of these other strategies as well. Can we negotiate and get more money? Can we cut costs? Can we make money in a clever way that can help pay it? Can we use a payment plan so that we can get through that 5,000 over the term of the semester? Maybe we can't afford to pay all 5,000 up front, but maybe if we break it into 3 payments, we could get through the year without having to take out money. So these are just a few of the strategies. There's so many things that we can combine with scholarships to get to that debt-free degree. So this is something that I call stacking strategies. And this is what we teach. We have a whole framework around it. But yeah, those are just some of the ideas. I mean, even just creative ways to save. For example, textbooks. Can we buy them previously used? Can we rent them? Can we buy them from other students? So all of these little things that we can do. For example, my textbooks my first semester cost me $900 before I learned these tips. Now, after that, I quickly learned never will I ever buy all my books brand new from the bookstore ever again.
From
Oh
or
my,
from the university
terrible. Yes.
bookstore.
So had I have done that every year, that would have been what? Almost $2,000 per school year, like $8,000, right? So instead, I figured it out to where books maybe cost me $500 the rest of the time there. I mean, so books are one of the biggest wastes, not wastes of money, but biggest savings opportunity. Also, things like leaving the car at home, not a popular opinion, but parking passes are so expensive. I mean, like $300, $500 per semester. Little decisions like this can really make that gap get a lot smaller.
Very true. Very, very, very true. So quickly, we want to comment on timeline. So even if I'm a junior, is there like a time, fall, spring, summer, where you find the most scholarships? Is there something like that? Because I've seen, even on your website. And by the way, you can go to Jocelyn's website. She has a list of spring scholarships. She has a lot of good resources on her website. So if you're looking for where to start, definitely start at the scholarship system. It's a good website to start on because she puts links directly to scholarships with the deadlines. So if you're like, I don't know where to look, I don't want to look on Google, no problem. Go to the Scholarship System's website and check out some of she has a lot of resources on the page. And like we said, this is going to take work. It's not like, I don't believe in easy, no effort kind of things. Personally, I'm not attracted to that. But I know that if I put in the work, I will get benefit. Then it makes sense for me to write that essay, ask for that recommendation letter, just be prepared, right? Because even on her website, you still have to apply to those scholarships. There's efforts there. People ask for scholarship as though I have the money to just hand it to you. Jocelyn, your company gives us money, right? But you have to do
Exactly.
something to get that money, right? So you can go to her website and find links there. But what I'm trying to say is, the question was, is there a season where it's a hot season? Spring is when you should be focusing on, or summer,
So
or
that's a
fall.
great
What do you
question.
think?
So there are deadlines actually in the fall, which surprises a lot of students. October is a big month, December is a big month. However, early spring is the big season. So right now, we are in the thick of things right now. So if your student is a senior, they need to be on it right now, okay? And junior as well. But that said, January, February, March, April, then May, we still have deadlines. June, we still have deadlines. But as we get closer, as we go into the summer, there are less and less. But that said, there are scholarships. In fact, our scholarship, and someone just asked scholarshipsystem.com. So it's actually thescholarshipsystem.com. Don't forget the. But when even for us, our deadline is not until July. So, and we give out the money for that August immediately. We send out the money 2 weeks later.
How much
So
scholarship and
we
who qualifies
have
for
two
it?
different scholarships. We have one for members only, so it's less competitive in the sense that less people can apply, so it's an advantage. And then we have one for non-members, and the criteria pretty much is just that you have to be going to college for that fall. So we do require them to be seniors or older, so even college students can apply. Our younger students, we tell them, go through the prompts, practice, but they're not eligible to apply until they get to that senior year. And we ask some essays. We ask for GPA in case we ever need like a tiebreaker, but we've literally never used it. So if your GPA is not great, that's totally fine. You can still apply. But yeah, and we give out, oh my gosh, 5 or 6 scholarships, I want to say. So each year it changes. We just kind of look and see how we can divvy it out.
Got it. Okay, but you didn't mention the
Oh,
dollar
they
amount.
are $500 to $600. So they're the smaller ones because for me, I'd rather take the pot and divide it among more students.
Got it. And like we said, a little 500 here, $1,000 here. Don't shy away from small dollar amounts because people are going to not apply because they think it's small dollar amounts. but you apply and you're going to get it. So definitely follow Jocelyn's website for links. I know that she published like March deadlines for scholarships, April deadlines for scholarships. You have to find those that you qualify for and save it. If you don't need it right now, save it for when you do need it. But we want you to be intentional about finding money. We want you to be intentional about trying to go to school debt free, because the reason why this is so important to me, because bachelor's degree is one of those degrees that may or may not pay off financially. And that's just the truth. Bachelor's degree in a lot of disciplines may or may not pay off financially. So imagine investing $50K in your bachelor's degree and you get out, you don't get a job, it's not paying off financially, but it's also cost you money. And now you're not getting a job that pays well and you still have to pay off your debt. That's why I'm advocating that we get a bachelor's degree for free, because it may not pay off. And when it doesn't, at least you don't owe anybody, right? At least you don't have to pay anybody back.
Exactly. You got it. I'm on the same boat. I completely agree.
Do whatever it takes. If it takes for you to go to community college, I tell students, go to community college. And they're like, oh no, I don't like community college because I want to go away. Okay, but it's going to cost you $30K a year. You just don't have that money. It's not free. And when you're younger, when you're 18 and 19, you don't think about the burden of paying back that $30,000. You're like, oh, I just want to go to school. But no problem, honey. You're going to finish school, but that money is not going to go away.
And
you're
just a scary stat on that, it's actually taking on average 21 years to pay back student loans. So that means an 18-year-old that's making this decision is going to be paying them longer than they've been alive. That's crazy. Yeah. We have parents that are coming to us like, hey, I'm still paying on mine and I don't want this for my child. It's crazy.
It's very crazy. And like I said, I got fortunate. I didn't get full ride for undergrad. I did take subsidized
loans great.
Only. Which is very good. I got a good deal. I could have gone to school. Jocelyn, you won't believe this. I got a full ride to a college and I didn't go because I was ignorant about school. I was so obsessed about name school. So I was in New York and I wanted to go upstate New York to this good state school that everybody wants to go to. It was called the State Ivy League in New York at the time. So if you didn't get to Ivy League, Columbia, that's where you went. And so I was obsessing over that. And I got a full ride to another university and I passed up on it to take a loan to go to school. So it cost me like $17,000 to get my bachelor's degree. Fortunately for me, it's paid off. Yeah. But I'm like, that's still $17,000 that I could have.
Well, we've had some parents message us and be like, okay, you need to help me. Like my student is about to commit to 40 grand in debt and they have a free ride over here. Like, what can I do? And we have we have a college cost calculator where it helps students walk through all of these numbers. And I said, walk her through it, show her the numbers, have that conversation. And I got an email back in all caps. Oh my God, she chose the free ride. So, sometimes it takes those conversations, the tough conversations, but you're not alone. A lot of students, they have just this thing in their mind. And it's important for parents to remember that they are still, it's not like, oh, they're 18, they're all of a sudden totally mature and can make these decisions, right? We have to coach them through these decisions. And so that's why we're here teaching what we're teaching, right? So that we can help them make the right decision.
That's why Jocelyn is here. So Jocelyn, talk about your services before we go. So if you missed some of the beginning conversation, we did share strategies on how to search for scholarships on Google, and there are credible websites like TheScholarshipSystem where she lists a lot of links for scholarships. If you follow her on YouTube, she has a lot of valuable resources about scholarships. Again, this is work that you have to do, but it's work that will save you money down the line. And the earlier you start, the better it will be. Some scholarships are renewable every year. Some scholarships is one time only. So hopefully with all these strategies, we know we can get through everything at one conversation, which is why she constantly has these conversations every day. And so follow her on Instagram. She's huge on Facebook. You can follow her there, and she's also big on YouTube. So all her links are in her bio. Please follow and learn. I follow her and I'm learning so I can help other people, right? So if they want to work with you though, how can someone work with you? What does it take to work with you? I'm a college planner, so if you don't know what you're going to school for, you don't know what you want to study, you have no clue, I'm undecided, I don't even know how courses work, that's me. I'm on the academic side. I will help you figure out your major. I will help you figure out your career path. I will coach you through the journey so that you do not go to school and come back and say, I still don't know what to do after 4 years.
I just want to say that learning all of that is also helpful for those scholarship essays, right? So when we have a clear understanding of who we are, what we want to do, who we want to be, that makes an essay so much easier to write. So I love what you do, and it's going to make their lives so much easier when they are applying for that money. So I just want to point that out there.
Yes, because like we said, if you want to do engineering, if you know that about yourself, it's easier to get money for it. If you know you want to do nursing or pharmacy or whatever, it's easier. We can search for those specifically. So let's get to that quickly. So I have a lot of things I do to help you. But talk about your services, and I think we're going to wrap this up. And yeah, we'll save the live. You can watch the replay. And please learn as much as you can about saving money for school because you will thank us later. Right now, like Jocelyn went to school debt free. I didn't. That's why I'm so passionate about, because that's money I'm going to give to someone.
So if anyone wants to, you can, of course, again, our Instagram's brand new. We were not on here, so you can give us a follow here. But also we have a link to a free webinar. It's about an hour long. That's the best place to start. You get a ton of free information. You see actual examples of these searches we're talking about, and you will learn more about our course. So we have an online course that we walk you through 6 steps to getting scholarships. So we break it down into how do we know what's legitimate, where do we find them, how do we build a list, how do we write an essay, anything around scholarships, how do we interview better, how do we get the money every year thereafter, what about taxes, negotiating, all these things. So when it comes to scholarships, we cover anything that you will come across. And so you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/info to learn more, or you can go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar if you want to join that free webinar and get some of the information anyway, and then learn more about the course. And then like Dr. Janet mentioned, we are on YouTube. There's so many, oh my gosh, we've been doing it now for a couple years almost, I think now, but I mean, dozens and dozens of videos on various topics. So you can check us out there too.
Over how to find a legit scholarship, because we did talk about be careful when you're looking for scholarships. Some things are too good to be true. Be careful, because people are just going to collect your data and you won't hear back from them. So you want to be careful that the links that you're searching are credible. When in doubt, you can ask people, or you can do a little bit more digging to make sure that this link is credible. You can find sources at the library, your local libraries. Go to your library, ask your guidance counselor, what are the scholarships that are available? And if they only tell you FastWeb, which is the one that everybody is telling you, go to fastweb.com, that's like, everybody's on there. So I know bowl.org is also a very good one. Bowl.org is a very good one. College Board is a very good one. So there are several good ones that you can start there, but everything takes a little bit of planning, which is why I'm huge on planning. Junior year, start this thing. Senior year, apply for more. And hopefully we've answered all your questions. I want to ask if second degree scholarships will, but we will follow her. She wants to ask if you're getting a second degree, if you can.
If it's an undergraduate degree, and I mean, if you want, you can ask and email out and ask if there's some reason that you'd be disqualified, but I would approach it as the same process. Yeah. All right.
So And you can apply as a freshman, as a sophomore. Usually go to your departments, go to your department offices and say, hey, in this chemistry department, are there scholarships for chemistry students? Go to the departments. A lot of students don't step into career offices. A lot of people don't step into the department offices. There's so much things we're leaving on the table. You can do work study and get money. You can do summer internship and get money. You can work to get money. Please go to school debt free. So any final words, Jocelyn, before we leave? We're done.
Yeah, I just want to
Thank you
thank
all.
you for having me tonight. This was so much fun. This is my first Instagram Live. It was a blast. So thank you for having me. And yeah, and just know that it's never too late. It's never too early. Until a student walks across the stage at college graduation, it is not too late. Start applying for scholarships now. Those of you that have students that are juniors, or if you're a junior in high school, we need to be doing this now. Don't wait until senior year. But that said, even if we're seniors or college students, it's not too late.
It's not too late. But the best time is junior year. So if you know any juniors, send them our way. We will help them get ready for school so they can graduate debt free. We really mean it. So thank you. If you found this valuable, I'll save the link and you can share it with your friends and family. Hopefully they can learn a thing or two, but we really mean this for you. We want you to go to school, but we want you to graduate debt free.
Thanks for having me.
So thank you, Jocelyn.
Bye, everyone.
I will have another conversation a different time. I'll come to your platform.
I would love that, actually. We'll talk about it.
Okay. All right, cool. See you guys. Thank you for